Hello, so today you're going to start writing your character analysis, or you're going to learn what we're expecting in your character analysis. You've finished the soapstone, so that's going to be helpful. I'll explain how in just a few minutes. This character analysis, what this means is you are going to be taking your selected character and you're going to show how that character has changed, and you're going to make some connections between your character and the topic that you're going to research for this unit. In your paper, you will include the following things: your character, and you are going to describe them vividly. Examples of the character's actions, thoughts, feelings will be provided. You'll be using Mla Format. This can be a direct quote or it can be a paraphrase. Remember that to describe your character, you have all of this in your book already. You have your indirect characterization annotations that you can go back to. And remember, it doesn't necessarily have to be a quote that the character said. It can be how that character is described by others. It can be how that character affects others in the book. You are going to make a connection between your topic and your character. It's going to be very clear by the end of your paper. You're going to provide two specific examples from the text to support a connection to your topic. I'll show you how to do that. You're going to show how your character changes throughout the book. You're going to have an analysis of specific examples connected to your research in your fourth paragraph. And your analysis for each example will be at least 3 sentences. So every time you provide a quote, whether it is for your research or from the text, you're going to analyze it using at least 3 sentences where you're describing how and why it demonstrates your character in some way. After you complete the outline that you've been given, which you're going to complete all the way through, you're going to take that information from the outline and you are going to move it to the blank document titled The Great Alone Essay, and Mla Format with 5 complete paragraphs. You will definitely need to use your editing checklist at the bottom of your document when you are done before you click submit, and we'll get to that too. So talk about the characters and the topics. If you had PTSD, you could talk about Ernst, Lenny, Cora, or Matthew. If you had substance abuse, you can be following Ernst, Mad, Earl, Cora, Lenny. Depression, Lenny, Matthew, Cora. Domestic violence, Ernst, Cora, Lenny. Survivalism, Mad, Earl, Large Marge, Cora, Lenny, Ernst. And seasonal affective disorder, Ernst. If we've given you a different character for a different reason, that's fine, but these are the ones that we originally provided. So paragraph 1. You did this. Earlier today, you completed your soapstone in class. Your soapstone is going to help you write this introduction paragraph. In your introduction paragraph, you are going to include the title of the book and the author. You are going to have a summary of the book. And when I say a summary of the book, I'm talking 3 to 4 sentences. So you're not giving me all of the details and everything that happened in the book. You're telling me, what is this book about? Take a look at the back of the book. See how the author did that. You do something similar to tell me what this book was basically about. Then you're going to introduce me to your character, the character that you are going to analyze, and give me a brief description of him or her. The final sentence in your introductory paragraph is your thesis statement. I'm giving you a thesis statement here. This is what we want you to use, this format. Hannah, that's our author, Hannah uses blank to explain blank and demonstrate his or her change from blank to blank. So for example, Hannah uses mental illness to explain the reasons behind Ernst's actions, justify Cora and Lenny's reactions later in the novel, and demonstrate his change from a loving father and husband to a violent predator. Now, none of you had mental illness, but in place of mental illness is where you would have PTSD or seasonal affective disorder, domestic violence, whatever it is. But look at my example and do something very similar for yours. So how did the author use your research topic to describe your character, and how did your character change from blank to blank? Decide how you think they changed and make sure you have some indirect characterization, some quotes to support that from the beginning and from the end of the book. So here's how that first paragraph looks. In the year blank, talk about what's going on during the time period, that's the occasion. Christian Hannah, you give me your adjective noun combo, published or wrote your tone of the novel, The Great Alone, to and then you're going to give me your purpose. Now, you came up with 2 purposes and your soapstone. This is where you're going to provide purpose number 1. Then you're giving me that summary, 3 to 4 sentences summarizing the book. Then you're coming here for the character, your brief description of the character, and then you're coming down here for your thesis statement, which should probably include your purpose number 2, okay? Hannah uses blank, so your character's problem or research topic, to explain why you think Hannah used this character's battle, so that would be purpose number 2, and demonstrate his or her change from blank to blank. Please don't leave this saying his or her. If you are using Lenny, then it will be her change. If you are doing earned, it will be his change, okay? Paragraph number 2. This is your body paragraph, and it should have at least 1 quote from the book which exemplifies the character, how they are at the beginning of the book, okay? So the things that should be included in this paragraph completely: first, your topic sentence. In your topic sentence, the topic is noted. The characteristic which is related will be mentioned. For example, in the beginning of the book, Annie is a person who suffers from PTSD and displays this through her nervous actions. That's just an example. Obviously, there was no Annie in our book, and you will have to use your own character and your topic. Then you will explain that first characteristic and how it's connected to the character, how it affects him or her. Example, this is seen when she, and you're describing something. This is where you're kind of giving us the context. So you're connecting the idea to the character. Context, lead in, then the quote in MLA format. Please do your MLA format correctly. There's an example on your outline, and there's an example right here. Notice where the periods go at the end, that there's a space between the author and the page number. Most important thing, though, that I've seen people missing is providing the context, which is also sort of included here in this number 2. Context, what is happening? What is happening in the paper? Then lead in, so you're setting up the scene, but you're leading into the quote. Lenny realizes, Lenny discovers, Lenny imagines, whatever it is. And then you're going to analyze it. This is where you have to have at least 3 sentences where you're describing how and why that quote demonstrates the character's actions, feelings, personality. What does it tell the reader about the character? How does it relate back to your thesis? This demonstrates her nervousness because you decide. Then finally conclude that paragraph to move on to your next one. All right, so you finished paragraph number 2. Here's what it looked like in your outline, your topic sentence, the characteristic, connect it to the character, providing the context, the lead-in, and the quote, provide your analysis, and then conclude. Most important is to make sure that you are relating your analysis back to your thesis. Are you proving your thesis? That's what we're going to look for each time we look at your paragraphs, is we're going to make sure that your analysis proves your thesis. But don't repeat yourself, and do not say, this proves my thesis because. Do not say that. Just provide your evidence. Your third paragraph is very much like your second paragraph. Same format, everything, except I want you to choose a characteristic from the middle or the end of the book. In paragraph number 2, you told us about how your character was at the beginning of the book. Now you're telling me how they have changed. So my topic sentence looks a little different. Later in the novel, Sally continues to display her nervousness. However, the PTSD has gotten worse, and now she is paranoid as well. This paranoia looks like, this is seen when she, and then I'm going to provide some context. I'm going to lead in, Annie realizes, comma, quote, in MLA format. Make sure you do that properly. And then you're going to analyze. 3 to 4 sentences with your analysis explaining how and why the quote demonstrates whatever it is you're trying to prove in your thesis. Make it connect back to your thesis, conclude, and move on to your next paragraph. Now, paragraph number 4, well, this is what your outline looks like, exactly the same as the paragraph 2. Paragraph 4 is where we're really doing the connection to your research. You are going to be putting your research into this paragraph. We are going to be doing this after Thanksgiving. This is going to be your longest paragraph because this is going to contain information not only from your book, but also from your research. In this paragraph, you're going to have a topic sentence where you're going to define your research topic. You're going to provide a statistic from your research. You are going to connect the research to your character by providing context, a lead-in, a quote from the book, and then also a quote from your research connecting the character to your topic. You must have at least one quote. It's better if you have two and connect them. If you want an A or a quality work, you will definitely need to have at least two. After each quote, there will be an explanation and analysis. How and why does this demonstrate the characteristics of your research? Relate it back to your thesis all of the time and conclude. These are the parts that you'll have. So you'll have your topic sentence, you'll describe your research and include Mla format and your statistic. You're going to connect it to your character by providing a quote from the text and from your research. So you're going to have both here. You're going to analyze how and why do those quotes support your character's change and your character's connection to your topic and your conclusion. Finally is your conclusion. This is a paragraph with about 4 or 5 sentences where you're going to wrap things up. You're going to include something about your topic here, how it relates to your character, how it helps define your character in some way. Maybe you're going to restate your thesis using some different words here. This is where you're going to leave me thinking, so make this good and do not make this repetition of what you have already written. The final thing you're going to do is edit your paper. Please do not skip this step. You have this checklist. You're looking for run-on sentences. You're looking for fragments. You're making sure that you've used at least one semicolon properly because, of course, that makes your writing look better and it makes Mrs. Cavicier and I very happy. You're going to have at least one comma and conjunction used properly. Also improves your writing and varies your sentence structure, and we like that. You're going to use Grammarly so that you check your spelling. I'm not a good speller. I always use that. You shouldn't have any spelling errors. You should definitely be spelling your characters' names right. You should have no capitalization errors. Names of cities, towns, states, countries, people, all need to be capitalized. No dead words. Search your paper for that, it, things, stuff, this quote, this paragraph, a lot, my thesis. Don't have any of that nonsense in your paper. No contractions. Spell them out. Don't should be do not. Can't should be cannot. No personal pronouns. My, me, you, us, we, I. Don't use those, please. Your writing should be in present tense all the time. This is really difficult for you. Please go back. Make sure you're writing in present tense as if it is happening now. Make sure your MLA heading is correct, your MLA citations are correct, and you have a correct works cited. We're looking forward to reading your papers.